Don't spit. Excellent.
Very good.
I'm 45. Oh, 45.
It all started 68 years ago today. A baby boy was born to two Minnesotans on the 8th of May. They were blessed with a little girl and now a boy. At this time, God gave this couple two little bundles of joy. This small child was given the name Mark Todd Wheaton. He was brought home and was a welcomed addition. During the following years, along came two members adding to the family. First John, and then about 9 years later, David, completing the Wheaton tree. His mom would tell you, think back, and almost begin to cry. Mark grew so quickly in just a blink of an eye. He was very smart, and at times was quite the childhood bully to quite a few, constantly jeering and playing pranks on whoever he knew. Quite the athlete and a go-getter, even as a small fry. A young, competitive swimmer, and at first hockey he was leery to try. His mom gave a pep talk showing her support, then ultimately a little shove. This little push allowed him to participate in a sport he truly loved. As he continued to grow into a mature man, with the little boy still within, all the standards, principles, and values were instilled in him. He played tennis in high school and college, making himself known, winning match after match with skill and a will of stone. He went on supposedly struggling through med school, but made it easily. He worked hard becoming a reputable sports medicine doc for SCOE. From time to time, he coached David on his professional tennis game. David relied on his advice and mental strategies to gain that ever-wanted and respected title at Wimbledon fame. Grateful to his mom and dad for the love they share brought him into this world unconditionally. His grandparents, Marnie, John, David, and his corn-fed, homegrown background contributed to his personality. It's hard to believe that once this man was a child so small, has grown to be a fine gentleman, loved and respected by all. We think back to when he was born that day in 1958, a godly, handsome, intelligent, loyal, and athletic man will always be remembered, especially on this date. Happy birthday.
And Gina's family. Let's see what William and Winston admire about their own father. Something that they've been impacted by their dad.
Go ahead, let's hear it. Okay. Just myself.
I can't hear.
Oh, that's okay. My dad's impacted me mostly by teaching me a lot of stuff from the Bible and just like being there for me when I need help and certain like times and troubles. Like if I'm hurt, he'll be there, and except when he's in California.
Uh-huh. I was there for that in California.
Yeah. And then he teaches me a lot of good morals and like just good lessons about life.
Okay. William? It's good. Thank you, Winston.
Well, I think that Dad's taught me a lot. I think that he's taught me how to be just like, I don't know, how to be a good student, how to use money, how to do everything to succeed in the world, but also to succeed after this world. And just help me through everything that we do, like everyday things, like, well, just like going to school, homework, and then Christian behaviors like reading the Bible, and just how to be a good steward with everything and have a good balance in life, and just to be responsible. And that's about it.
Good. Thank you, William.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. this at chocolate fire?
One of them.
Okay. Well, I'll blow it out. I'm at 46. It says right here, 46.
No.
46. Ready? 1, 2,
Just go
3.
puff. Very nice, one shot.
Written it out before, so we had a Roman study last couple of weeks was really great because everyone prepared their own testimony, faith story. So I have yet to do that, but being that dad and mom were newly saved when I was born, but obviously I didn't know what time where I wasn't introduced to the truth. And I can imagine if I was 18 or 20 years old, having gone through that teenage period, it would have been a whole different story. But I can't remember exactly the age, but and again, when you're young, you don't know exactly what you're saved from, because you haven't really had time to ruin your life at that point. But nevertheless, I knew clearly that I was a sinner and that I wasn't going to be saved by anything good that I did. So whatever age that was, it probably was in my single digits, but I remember just asking God to forgive me my sins and I would trust Him. Jesus Christ to save me from my sins. So it was that simple. However, it didn't necessarily, as we all know, it doesn't make your life a smooth bed of roses. You get in your own way with sin as you grow up. And so I had those moments and those times, but I always had that nagging pull that God was watching over me and that He would ultimately take me down the path that He had chosen for me. So I think what's really been, now that I've lived 2/3 of my life, I assume, I don't know if maybe I'm near the end, I don't know. But so there's a lot more years looking back than forward now. But I think that the years that I've had remind me of that really God is in sovereign control, and I don't have to try to perform for God. I don't have to try to be good for God, because that's the whole purpose of Him saving me. And at the same time, I know that the sin I do commit, He has forgiven me for it. If I just confess my sin, He will be faithful just to forgive my sins and cleanse me from all unrighteousness. So I guess the doctrine of election has been really sweet to me, because I've understood that I'm chosen based on nothing in my own life. I like to think of how Israel was chosen in chapter 7 of Deuteronomy, where He said, I chose you because I loved you, not because you were a mighty people, great in number, just because I chose to set my love upon you. So that's how I see my salvation. And just looking back at, starting with Granny and her faith, I could see the whole legacy of how God has blessed her family through Granny and then Dad and Mom and what we see right here. So, and then of course there's others that have been reached through that graciousness that God has given to our family as well. So, it's so important to have my 2 kids as all the other kids here at these kinds of gatherings, because it etches it into their heart and mind that it's bigger than themselves. So I won't say much more than that. Or life. Well, I went to Loma Linda out in Southern California for my residency, and I think I had just come off the traveling with David on the tour for his first year when he turned pro. And so it was time to get back to my medical training. And I was assigned to the spinal cord injury unit. And as you know, that's an area where most patients are unable to walk because they've had a severe spinal cord injury at their neck level or their lower back level. And Gina happened, as Providence happened with parentheses, writing quotes in it. She was working as a new nurse on the spinal cord injury unit as well. So I met her shortly thereafter, and she was living with her family at the time, her parents and her two brothers. And so we knew each other off and on throughout that time. And of course, we didn't know where it was headed at any point along the way. I was just doing my residency. I knew I'd be out there a while, and Gina was just working. But at some point, it really, I just felt this real tug that she would be the right one for me. And I don't know, I don't think I had a formula for figuring that out, but just seemed to have the inner qualities that I thought would be lasting. And I mean, I thought she was always pretty to me, so I didn't have a problem with that either. But had that big megawatt smile, like Mary always calls it. So at that point, when I moved back to Minnesota to start my practice, then a little while after that, I asked Gina, well, come on to Minnesota if you'd like, and then see if we get to know the family and so on. But so within, I don't know what year you came, I think it was 2000, early 2000s, but that led up to our wedding in our home in 2003. I say our home only because I had purchased it, and we would be. I purchased it 6 months before Gina would move in with me. But so we got married in November 22nd of 2003, and right. Winston's inserting something I probably should have mentioned, but I proposed to Gina at one of our favorite venues, swing dance. We love to swing dance, and so there's a big band thing going at the American Legion Hall on Nicollet Avenue, and so I decided I would ask her if she'd like to marry me, and so I asked her, and naturally you think the answer is going to be a quick yes. Well, it happened to be no. And I sat there just stunned for about 5 seconds, and if it had gone, more than that, I probably would have really been disconcerted. But she did kind of turn back and say, "Yes, I will." And the only explanation I can say is that everything wasn't in sync at that point with my life and Gina's and my family, so it just didn't seem quite right. But I'm glad that she said yes. And so by the time we did get married, and Dad, Mom, and we had a small wedding with just family, and it was just beautiful. So it's in the very house that we live in now for the last 13 years, and so I'll mention frequently, I say, hey, this is the spot right here where we got married. And so it has a tremendous significance to us in that one spot, right in front of the TV. When we're not watching a hockey game or something, or Fox News or something, it has a lot of meaning to us. So, of course, it's where we raised our boys in. So.